Yo, what is going on, guys? Jaeky here. Today we're going to be talking about consistency in Valorant and how to improve your consistency. And being a consistent player just means that you're not going to be bottom fragging as much. You're not going to have games where you're just absolutely tilted and not able to do anything. So that's basically what it means when we want to improve our consistency as a player. So when it comes to consistency, there's two parts that kind of go into it. The first part is going to be your mechanical consistency, and then the second part is going to be your gameplay consistency. So we're going to start with talking about mechanical consistency. And basically, mechanical consistency is going to be stuff like your aim, your movement, like being able to hit your shots from game to game and just not whiffing as much. So when it comes to mechanical consistency, the biggest advice that I can give you is going to be to not change your settings. So for example, like your sensitivity, you want to pick a sensitivity that you know you're comfortable on and that you can perform well on. If you need help finding a good sensitivity, I actually made a video on how to find the perfect sensitivity for you that I will leave in the description below. But that's step number one, is make sure you find a good sensitivity that you're comfortable on and make sure you stay on that sensitivity no matter what. So even if you're having a bad game and you're slumping, you're super tilted, you need to have the discipline to make sure that you don't change your settings. Even though you might feel like it helps you in the short term, in the long term, it will definitely not help for your consistency. So make sure you stay on the same settings. Even crosshair, I would recommend not changing as often. Like if you change your crosshair 4 or 5 times per game, that's probably not a good thing. So you want to make sure you keep 1 or 2 crosshairs that you use and try not to change them that often. Same thing goes for just your resolution and stuff like that. Just make sure you keep all your settings very consistent. And I already know people are going to be commenting like about TenZ and how TenZ always changes his sensitivity and he's still insane. But honestly, you're not TenZ, and TenZ is just built different. The reason TenZ is able to get away with changing his sensitivity so much is just because he plays the game a lot. He's literally a pro player and it's his job to play the game like every single day. So obviously he's going to be good on any sense that he uses just because he's playing hours upon hours every day on different sensitivities. Plus, he's tried out so many different sensitivities that he is able to switch sensitivities and still be comfortable because he's used to changing it so much. So yeah, that's tip number one, is to not change your settings. The second tip that ties in with improving your mechanical consistency is going to be making sure that you warm up before you play. So obviously warming up is good for many reasons, but it also helps you improve your consistency before hopping into a game. If you warm up with deathmatch or in the range just for 10-15 minutes before you play your ranked games, it will help a lot with improving your consistency and making sure that you don't bottom frag as much. You might think you don't need to warm up, but some games you don't warm up, you hop in and you just feel like you can't hit any shots. And one of the reasons for that is because you didn't warm up. So I would highly recommend warming up in deathmatch and in the range before you play. If you want my specific warm up and aim training routine, I will also leave a video to that in the description below. Okay, so now let's get into part number 2 of building consistency, which is your gameplay. So this probably happens to a lot of you where one game you'll be top fragging and then the next game you will be bottom fragging and you don't really know why. So let's say, for example, in my first game where I'm top fragging, I'm on Jet and I'm peeking everything and I'm able to get kills everywhere just because the enemy team is worse than me, and I'm getting kills and I'm able to dash away from everything and just escape for free. And by the end of the game, I played really well and I'm top fragging. But then the next game you're bottom fragging and you're doing the exact same thing and you don't know why it isn't working. So when it comes to being a consistent player and building up that consistency, that also means knowing when to adapt to certain situations and certain players as well. So for example, in that first game, I might have gone against players who I could easily punish and get away with for free by taking duels and fighting. But in my second game, maybe I go against better players, and me peeking out and taking duels, I keep losing duels and I get punished for my duels. So if you find yourself in that situation where you're just kind of on autopilot and you're running around doing the exact same thing that you usually do and you're not getting any kills from it, it might be time to kind of look at your gameplay and ask yourself, like, maybe I should be changing up my playstyle and not playing the same way that I usually play. Because a lot of players, especially people in the lower ranks who are just starting to rank up, they will be playing super well for a couple games and then they'll win their games and they'll be in a higher rank, and then all of a sudden they'll start playing bad and they'll blame it on just them being inconsistent or their aim being off that game, but in reality, you're actually playing better players and you're getting punished for things that usually you would be able to get away with against lower players, if that makes sense. So for example, maybe in a lower elo, you would be able to wide swing short A and get free kills unpunished, but as you rank up and you're playing against better players, or even just not even better players, but people who know how to punish what you're doing, they will adapt and they will be able to punish you off this angle, and you won't be able to get free kills like you did back in your other games. So when this happens to you, you need to be able to sort of adapt and shift your playstyle. For example, if you're taking duels and you're losing the first duel every single time, every single round, it might be better for you to play passive and wait for them to run into your crosshair instead of actually swinging and taking those duels. I think the most important thing to remember is being consistent doesn't matter if you're consistently bad. So if you're consistently making bad plays and you're consistently a bad player, you will not improve. The biggest thing is to be able to adapt. So don't put yourself in a hole where you're always reliant on the same exact plays over and over, or you're reliant on a single agent like Jet with the dash escape. You want to make sure that you are constantly adapting, because if you consistently do something at a certain skill level, you will stay at that skill level. So you want to make sure that you're able to look at your plays objectively and sort of ask yourself what you're doing wrong and improve off of that. So the third tip that I kind of want to throw in here just as a bonus is how to have impact when you're having a bad game. And I actually made a complete video dedicated to this where I go into more detail. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you want to watch that. But basically in that video, I basically say, if you're not having impact, where you're not getting any frags in a game, let's say for example, you can still have impact and help your team by communicating super well, by using your utility to support your team. So if you're a Sky, for example, you can flash your duelists in who are actually feeling good and they're getting kills. So you can actually flash them in, use your utility, and help out in that sense. So you don't have to be fragging if you're not really feeling it. There's plenty of different ways where you can have impact in the game, even if you're not fragging super well. And that's pretty much it, guys. Those are some quick tips that I can give you guys to help you improve your consistency in Valorant. If you liked the video and it helped you out, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.